Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town Pump. Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Your final thoughts after a great win for the Griz over Sac State as you head to Portland this weekend for a tough game against Portland State.
Thanks, Tapes. I'll get going here. So in the Sacramento State game, that was as close to a complete game as we've played so far this year. The atmosphere in the stadium was great. I thought the performance of our team was outstanding. It was just a great team win. I'm proud of our team and their ability to control the game throughout. So moving forward, our team's created an opportunity with 2 games left, and now we have to make a choice about continuing to take care of business at hand or not, and I hope that we'll do that. Our group's shown a lot of resilience and willingness to work to improve through the season, and I hope this week we can take another step forward. So on to Portland State with that. Portland State does a great job. Bruce has a good team over there, but really on top of that, in terms of resources and things like that, Coach Barney does a better job than anybody in the country in terms of doing more with less. And I consider them a really physical football team. They're second in the conference in scoring offense. They're second in scoring in the conference in rushing offense. I think about 230 yards a game or something like that. Quarterback was player of the week against NAU. He had 6 touchdowns in that game. The running back was the Big Sky player of the week against East Washington. Had 6 touchdowns in that game. I don't know if we have anybody on our team that has 6 touchdowns on the season. So we need to have a great week of work and get prepared and play our best game Saturday.
Questions?
Cliff, Offensive Player of the Week, went to you this week. Just talk about what was kind of going right against Sac State on Saturday.
Oh, it was just everything was clicking. I mean, we kind of came out slow in the first quarter, but then we picked things up. It was O-line really did a great job protecting us back there and allowing us, the running backs and the receivers, to get open and just make plays.
And we've seen you throw a lot of passes, but you're currently averaging 24 yards per catch off one catch on the season. What was it like to make that catch from a junior on the sideline?
Oh, it felt real good getting the ball to Keelan on a 97-yard touchdown. I was just glad to get some points on the board and put the game away.
Coach, I know every coach says that they want their team to improve as the season goes along and they want to be playing their best ball at the end. What has it been like to watch this team improve as the year has gone on, and what would you point to for that reason?
Well, the reason is there's a willingness to take correction and get coached and then practice to get better. And then, most of the positions we've stayed fairly healthy. So those things have been the contributing factors. I think generally speaking, that's what happens with our teams around here. Nothing's 100% in football, but that generally is how we do things.
And then I know you've praised the way that this team has showed up and wanted to prepare each and every single week, and you kind of touched on it there a little bit. But a lot of people on the outside might call this sort of a trap game with the one that's next and the one that you just had. So what's kind of the mentality going into this week?
Well, like I said, we have a choice to make about continuing to improve and take care of our business. And, that's kind of what we try to emphasize around here on a weekly basis, and hopefully we will.
Trajon, what about for you and the confidence level that you have of this team, putting in a good week of preparation and overall just the feeling and the mentality going into this week?
I think we'll be ready. I think, like Coach said, this locker room, we just want to get better and better every week, every practice, and I think we'll continue to do that.
What's it been like for you this run that you guys have been on? I think I interviewed you actually after practice. It was after the NAU game. So what's it been like just watching this team improve, and what's it like been a part of that ride?
It's been good. Like, I kind of goes back to the last question, just constant improvement each and every day, watching more film, practicing harder, and things like that. Everybody just really wants to get better, and it's making us grow as a whole.
Bobby, just curious from your perspective, big thing in athletes, but you see it in fighters too, is just self-belief and confidence and things like that. Your team seems like you have that a lot. Like, you have confidence throughout the year, the past few years. You're always just, the self-belief is there. What's it like, I guess, coaching that? Like, how do you guys kind of instill that in this group to have that self-belief? Because it is a much more valuable part than maybe people realize.
Yeah, I think that confidence is hard to get sometimes, and a lot of times it's false bravado. If you have true confidence, then you probably perform better, if that's what you're asking. And I think a lot of it's the way our guys are trained. They're trained in a certain way, and they know what they've put into it, and they're educated on the X's and O's of football, and so they know what they're doing. But then they also are trained in a way where they know they've prepared, so they're confident in their training.
For both the players, just that self-belief, what's it like having it and just, always believing, never wavering, like even, through ebbs and flows? Like, just speak to that self-belief and what it's like having that. We'll start with you, Trajon.
Well, playing football, you got to have that confidence that you're the best player and that you're going to beat your opponent. You're going to win your one-on-one battles. So I feel like we all have that, and I feel like our teammates kind of bring that out of us as well. And, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the confidence, I feel like confidence just goes up every time we win. So just got to keep winning and keep building the confidence.
And Trajon, back to you. Coach mentioned the players that Portland State has that are stars on the offensive side. Just from what you know from Portland State, maybe past meetings, just what kind of stands out about these guys as you get ready for Saturday?
Yeah, the quarterback's a dude. We're going to have to contain him. He has an arm as well, and they have a good run game.
Bobby, when it comes to Portland State's run game, anything unique or different?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
When it comes to Portland State's run game, anything unique or different that they do to get their guys the ball in space?
Well, they're persistent with it, first of all. I think they do a great job with formations and such. The head coach is an old O-line guy. He has a great understanding of what he wants and how to manipulate the defense. I think they spend a lot of time on that. The offensive coordinator, A.C. Patterson, is an old O-line guy. So, it's no mystery that they find good ways to run it. They have some fundamental plays they like to hang their hat on, but then they've got a lot of diversity within the quarterback run game. So, they're a broad-based rushing attack that's hard to stop. That's what nobody's stopping them. They've had some games where they've had some weeks where it's better than others, but, they've got, you look at some of the things statistically, and the points and yards at halftime are just remarkable. So we got our hands full.
Looks like they have multiple ball carriers, too, not just the quarterback, but maybe 3 or even 4 guys that get the ball out of the backfield. How challenging is that to prepare for?
Well, it's really, they're going to have a guy in the running back spot, and they're going to have a guy in the quarterback spot, and then they're going to play multiple personnel groups around him, right? So it's not so much who that guy is, other than the fact that the guys they've got at those positions are really talented. And then, again, they do a great job with formations, personnel groups. The balance in multiple looks, multiple personnel groups is really difficult.
And fathers and sons on both sides of the sideline.
Yeah, how about that? Isn't that unique?
Yeah, right. So, what do you think it's going to be like being on the opposite sideline as your son?
Well, he's gone from player to coach. He's a professional now. He's going to be trying his darndest to beat us, that's for sure. And Barney doesn't want Cooper at home at Christmas talking smack to him either. So those guys, they're going to want to win. But, they've got a pretty good window into what we do, and they got smart guys that can interpret that. So I would say that's advantage Portland State.
Bobby, wanted to ask you about the offensive line. You guys have had your two biggest games of total offense the past two games, ran for over 300 this past game. Just what's your evaluation of the way the offensive line has been playing during this win streak you guys are on, and especially the depth maybe you've created there as you rotate some guys in?
I think they've played well. I think they're coming off the ball. They're playing with the right disposition, in my opinion, and the ability to play into our depth has probably led to some consistency, which was asked earlier in the deal. So that certainly has been the case in our offensive line.
And then at safety, or at cornerback, Ronald Jackson got his first start, played vast majority of the game. Just your evaluation of how he performed in his first start and how the cornerbacks as a unit held up.
Ronald played well in the game. Thought he did a nice job. I think he's a competitive guy who has gotten better and better, which is generally the case with guys that haven't been with you for a long time. As the season wears on, the more they play, the better they play. And what was the second part of that?
Just how the cornerbacks as a unit held up in that game.
Well, I mean, trying to think how much they went outside. They held up well in the game. I mean, they really went after TC, and I don't think they caught a ball.
They didn't catch no balls.
0. We're going to actually talk about that at 3.
Yes, sir.
Nice job. But, they went after TC and were not successful at all.
Cliff, I know you like to give a lot of love to the offensive line on social media. What do you like the most about playing behind this offensive line? What kind of impresses you the most about them as a group?
Just the grit that you guys have. They're just real aggressive, and they just welcome me with open arms ever since I got here, and just believed in me since I stepped foot on the campus.
And Bobby, Trajon Cotton not playing, anything you can share about why he didn't play?
He wasn't available.
And then just to confirm, because of that unsportsmanlike conduct stuff and Chris Walker getting the second one, he has to sit out the first half of this game this week.
That's incorrect.
So he's able to play?
Yes.
The whole game this week?
Yes.
Is the understanding of the rule just wrong, that since he got 2 unsportsmanlike conducts?
I don't know what your understanding of the rule is.
So what is the rule?
What rule?
I thought if you get thrown out of a game, you have to sit. If you get thrown out in the second half, you have to sit out the first half of the next game.
For an unsportsmanlike?
With the second one.
That's incorrect.
Cliff, to kind of shift the offense a little bit, can you just walk us through what it's like working with Eli and Nick? You guys had over 300 yards combined, and just how much does that open you, both in your running and your passing, when those guys are playing as well as they are lately?
Oh, it definitely takes a lot of the pressure off the offense of seeing those guys make big plays and big runs.
Then just Portland State, I know you guys haven't gotten a chance to look at them deeply yet, but just what do you know about their defense? And they've, like Coach mentioned, they've had some good games this year. They've had some ebbs and flows. Just what do you know about those guys on defense?
Like Coach said, we know they're going to be very physical and aggressive, so we're just going to get in the film room and see where their weaknesses are.
And Bobby, Portland State has been they've won some good games and then lost some tough games. Just what maybe stands out about them? They've seemed like a little inconsistent, but is there any reason behind that, or just what are you kind of seeing when you look at their team?
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out the most is they're a physical team, and then the fact that they have the ability to control the game with their run game. Their run game's been overpowering in a lot of weeks, and we're worried about that.
TC, what's it like, especially in your senior year, to be in this position where you have kind of everything in front of you, and you put yourselves in this position?
This is why I came to the University of Montana, to be in this position, to play in big games every weekend, and that's why I came here, and this is kind of what I expect.
I just want to ask you about a couple of your captain linebackers. Start with Braxton Hill. Just what sort of growth have you seen since he came from sort of a red shirt guy, gray shirt even guy, to now being a captain, one of your top tacklers, one of your best players?
Yeah, Braxton's done a good job. You know, when he first got here, he had a couple things going against him. You know, he wasn't a really experienced player, and then he had a bunch of injuries. So really thought he had a bright future. I mentioned that at the time to some friends and high school coaches. They thought I was crazy, but he's developed into a really good player.
He was such a good overall athlete in high school, great basketball player. So, I mean, do you see guys like that having a big-time upside?
Well, athletic ability helps you have a big upside, certainly. I mean, it's a game where good athletes, whatever the position, have probably a higher upside than guys that have lesser athletic ability. And certainly Braxton's a good athlete. He's fast. He's got a great frame. He's a pretty fluid guy. I mean, he's done a nice job becoming a great football player.
And where he's from, I mean, there's a lot of small towns in Montana that love sports, but Anaconda loves sports, and they love their guys from there. So what have you thought of just his ability to represent for that town?
Well, you know, he just add him to the list of guys from. I mean, Anaconda is a smaller Montana town now. It wasn't always that way, but you know, guys coming from smaller schools in Montana and developing into just terrific football players. He's done that. Obviously, grew up in a family that were very sports centric, like a lot of kids in Montana towns, but his family in particular. And you know, I'm just happy for him. He's worked really hard at it, and it's great to see him playing as well as he is.
And Levi Janicaro, I mean, obviously he's a great story as well. I mean, what'd you see that you projected him as such a great linebacker after being a high school quarterback?
You know, different than Braxton. You know, he doesn't have the same frame. Probably not quite as explosive as Braxton, but very powerful, good with his hands. You know, I always like the high school quarterbacks, especially in this state, because, you know, if you're the best player, they're going to put you at quarterback or tailback because you're going to have the ball. And Levi was one of the first guys we talked to when we got here in 2018, and he's just such a quality guy. He does everything right. He's a great leader. He's a great human being, and he's a good football player.
Trajon, just your thoughts on those two guys, and is just sort of the way that they'll lead the defense?
Yeah, kind of like Coach said, I love both those guys, and they do a great job in the locker room and on the field, and I love playing with them guys.
One more.
Bobby, if I could throw out a question from left field. I know with Coach Bobby Knight passing away last week, was he someone you ever got to meet or get to know, or did he have any sort of influence on you or inform you coaching-wise?
My dad met him a few times. I never met the man. You know, he liked to come to Montana fly fishing, but he's kind of stingy about where he was going.
At Blackfoot Communications, our mission is to connect people, businesses, and communities, bringing a world-class fiber network to homes, communities, and businesses of all sizes. Ensures Montanans have access to fast, reliable, and secure internet and phone services. Are you ready for fiber internet? To find out if fiber is coming to your area, visit goblackfoot.com/readyforfiber. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications.